Hi, my name's Chad Buchanan, and I'm here in beautiful St. Moritz, Switzerland, reporting on the 2011 Bilderberger Conference. The Bilderberger Conference is held every year in a different location. It is comprised of hundreds of the world's richest and most powerful people, men and women. They meet in absolute secrecy with incredible amounts of security and protection to discuss information and matters that they deem too sensitive for the general public to know about. As I drove into St. Moritz, the first thing I noticed is it was off-season and the whole town was basically deserted, thus providing the ideal setting for the Bilderberg 2011 meeting. Security was incredibly tight around the Suvretta Hotel where the Bilderberg 2011 meeting was being hosted, with a conspicuous police and private security presence which included police in full tactical gear and a private security firm with its logo of the all-seeing eye escorting German shepherds around the perimeter of the grounds. I attempted to use a public walkway to walk past the hotel, but I was blocked by half a dozen security guards and police with dogs. I made my way to the local airport on a tip that some of the Bilderberg attendees were flying in. After some time, though, with myself and a number of media personnel hanging out, I guess they decided to drive the people in because the limousines left and there were no more attendees arriving. Although later, after I left, several attendees did show up and the folks from We Are Change Switzerland got a chance to film them. When I got back to the Hotel Suvretta, the limousines bringing the attendees were already arriving. There were protesters in the street and there were police monitoring the situation. There was a cautiously optimistic mood among activists, protesters, and journalists gathered together in a group across from the conference. The Bilderberg security was very clear about where we were allowed to stand and where we were not allowed to stand, thus creating a so-called free speech zone. During the afternoon of day 2, the sun finally came out. This encouraged more activists, journalists, and protesters to come out and share their opinions on Bilderberg 2011. At one point, the mood actually became quite festive, and people were excited about sharing their ideas as they saw the numbers growing. Some activists even camped out in the rain and cold weather to have a chance to voice their opinions, which were generally quite skeptical of the need to have taxpayers finance this highly secretive meeting. Veteran reporter and, for over 35 years, investigator of the Bilderberg Group, Jim Tucker, was kind enough to grant me an interview and answer a few of my questions about the yearly meeting.
The protesters and those who object to evil works being done by strange creatures behind closed doors, they've been winning for the last several years. In the 90s, Bilderberg was confident it would have an American Union similar to the European Union, and also a third regional super state as a step toward the plans for world government.
Yeah.
Now, they were confident that happened by the year 2000, and here we are 11 years later, and they're further from it. It's demonstrated by their depression. For the last several Bilderberg meetings, they've been grousing about those dirty gurdies outside the door, forcing information into the newspapers and broadcast outlets.
Mark Anderson, editor of America's Free Press, arguably America's last real newspaper, was also there investigating the situation.
The very first thing I heard about in the news center set up here in St. Moritz was David Rockefeller, the octogenarian financial ruler of the Western Hemisphere, you might say. He rolled in, and among the first, interestingly, on June 9th, before this thing really even kicked off. But he's sort of the godfather of this, at least from the North American point of view. So very interesting that he rolled in so early. It shows that this is for real, that we weren't led on some false goose chase, that the meeting maybe was happening somewhere else and we were fooled into thinking it was happening in St. Moritz. So we also heard Henry Kissinger rolled in. So these are the old guard of Bilderberg. trying to sew this up before they go to the great beyond.
Later that evening, Swiss politician Dominik Bettig gave a speech to a packed auditorium on the topic of Bilderberg 2011. His concerns included the secrecy surrounding the event, their goals and primary motives for having the event in Switzerland, which included his suspicion that they were working on eroding Swiss sovereignty. After the speech and press conference, Mr. Bettig marched down to the Bilderberger Group meeting and attempted to enter. He was denied access, and he questioned the police and security why the meeting was so secretive, why as a Swiss political member he was not allowed to enter, and what the purpose of the Bilderberg 2011 meeting was.
For me it's okay, I tried to say no, okay, and it's impossible.
Mr. Bettig, being motivated by intelligence and rumors that one of the purposes of the Bilderberg 2011 meeting was bringing Switzerland into the European Union, as well as also limiting internet freedoms, censorship, and expanding the war in the Middle East. Although the mood outside Bilderberg 2011 was generally pretty serious, there were some moments of levity in which a laugh could be had.
Some significance for it being up there.
I
like
went
that.
to Bilderberg 2011 and all I got was this lousy New World Order. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reporting at the Bilderberg 2011 conference in St. Moritz, Switzerland, this is Chad Buchanan signing out. Thank you.